All right. Hopefully we're live. Welcome to Roll of Law. Today we're going to do a bit of an experiment here. We are going to be playing Stars Without Number, which I haven't played in some time here. And let's see. I've got audio from two sources, so that's not good. But there we go. I love the bird. So yeah, this is Stars Without Number. It's a great game. I'm a big fan of it. It's by Kevin Crawford, and worth noting, you can pick up an entirely playable version of this for free. There is a free edition that contains all the rules you need to actually play this. It cuts out the rules for like artificial intelligences and mechs, but you can play with no issues at all. So and somebody got, give me 1 second. Just sort of add back in there. I think I clicked the wrong button there. All right. So we'll start off, I guess, with introductions. I can sort of kick that off. If you watch my usual channel, which is Runkle of the Bailey, I do legal commentary in there. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. I'm also a tremendous geek, and so we've got the second channel here of Roll of Law. So I'll be running this one. And so I guess next, Dreaded GM, I'll let you sort of introduce yourself there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh from Dreaded GM. People call me Dread. Around these parts, or not these parts, we're brand new in these parts. Around the internet, I run tabletop role-playing stuff on my own channel called Dreaded GM. I've done a bunch of big charity events, which I was fortunate enough to be blessed by Ian here, our uncle, coming to join us. It was awesome. We managed to gather I think almost like $8,000 for the kids there.
Nice.
At the end of it all. But I mostly do D&D 5e stuff, but I do love all TTRPGs. So I run stuff like Easy D6. Me and Runkle here, we played Blades in the Dark, which was a whole bunch of fun. And if you want to see what I do, just Google Dreaded GM and you'll probably find me somewhere on Google. But my little slogan or my little tagline is I'm a storyteller, voice actor, and GM with dreadlocks. So yeah.
All right, Kurt, I guess we'll toss you in next.
Yeah, my name is Chuffy. I like to just go around from job to job as needed, and whatever happens, man. Play a little bit loose and fast.
Fair enough. And what do you do on the YouTubes?
Yeah, well, I hear this guy called on civil law discusses some legal stuff. I don't know much about that law. More about the job life and just whatever comes along, a little bit of grift here and there. But sounds like you might know what he's talking about, so you can check out that on civil law.
Nice. And Secret, I'll let you sort of introduce yourself here.
You all know what I do. I just go around modding all the channels, basically. That's about it.
And you're fantastic at it. So
and I have birds. Yeah.
Well, when you mentioned that you had an interest, I was like, I gotta get Secret in on this because you're fantastic. I know there's some people in the chat I've been seeing going, "Where's David?" He had a work emergency. He's gonna be here. He's just gonna be a little late. And so because of that, we are going to introduce him later, sort of midway through. So he's going to be here when he can, but we're not exactly sure when that's going to be. All right. Now, I don't have the full... one of these days, I'm going to have to get like a proper introduction. David's got a great introduction. I've got to figure out how to do that. But, so we're just going to dive right in. All right, so as I threatened and sort of warned people ahead of time, we're going to start this off with sort of a character vignette. And what I mean by that is each of you is going to sort of describe the sequence by which your character gets kidnapped, because that's how this starts for everybody. And so this is kind of an opportunity for each person to present a little bit of like what your character might ordinarily be doing, what kind of trouble they might get in, because typically characters get into trouble in various ways. And I mean, this could be anything from like I drank too much and passed out and woke up in a bad place to I got in a bar fight and, you know, but whatever it is. But whatever this vignette is, it ends with, you know, your character being unconscious and ending up in places unknown. So I guess we'll start with probably Dreaded GM, because I figure you've got the most sort of experience on this. So if we're going to throw someone into the deep end,
All right.
we'll start there.
Well, let's do it. We're going to start this vignette, this scene out in space. You can hear over the comms people talking. They're not just talking, though. They're commentating. This is a race ripping through space. You see multiple ships going through various obstacles that are set up to make the race more interesting. We see a turret which starts shooting at the ships, and you can see Talia dodging those projectiles by doing a barrel roll. As they rip through space, you hear the commentators shout, "She's done it! She's done it! She beat the parsec!" And then we flash to a area where they're celebrating Talia. But as Talia is downing a drink, celebrating her win, you see her vision start to go blurry. She begins to get wobbly, and she goes into a back room where she passes out.
All right. Next up, Kurt. Tell us a little bit about your character and how they end up in a bad place.
Yeah, my name is Chuffy. I'm a bit of a vagabond. I'm a drifter going around from place to place, job to job, whatever it is. Just not really with any sort of plan or focus, just trying to live one day out there among the stars and, do some little low-level crimes or whatever comes along. Doesn't really matter if it's a little unwelcomed or anything, but, get by with whatever I need. And, I'm okay at it, but unfortunately, sometimes it catches up with me, and today is one of those days. It just seems, guess one of my latest schemes somehow come back to backfire. I mean, not the first time, surely not the last, so I'm just going to go along with it and see where the next journey lies.
Fair enough. So scheme went wrong and ended up in bad place. Tolquist, secret.
Well, to be honest, I can't remember much. I just woke up with a really bad headache, and I'm now here.
Well, the really bad headache is going to be really bad. So let's get into where that leads off. So you guys are waking up in a sort of metal tube with glass on the front. And as you're waking up, there is a siren going off in the sort of in the corridors. Now, the first thing you hear is a screaming sound and something sort of thumping against a solid object, and followed by the sound of glass breaking from within the hallway. And there, printed on the front is a bunch of sort of red text in sort of, as you can see. And there, as you're sort of sitting there kind of trying to figure out what has happened and where you are and any of that good stuff, there, a voice comes in.
Hello. My name is Evie. I am the ship's emergency virtual intelligence. Please do not panic, even though you are likely going to die.
So as that comes in, the pods that you're in sort of slowly open, and you guys are basically without any of your usual stuff. Each of you is wearing a sort of medical gown of kind of that paper cloth material that zips up in the back, and it's kind of like a medical cloth onesie. You're on board a ship that you've never been on in your life, and there is that alarm going off, which I'm not going to continue playing because that'll get annoying real fast. But that alarm is continuing to sound throughout the ship. There is a woman who's she got out of the pod before you by essentially the use of extreme violence. She's bleeding from her head, which apparently is what she used to smash open the glass. And she's holding a shard of glass. And she looks back at you guys for just a second before she dashes off into the hallway. At that point, the sort of hallway door closes again behind her, and you guys are sitting there. You guys aren't the only pods here as well. There are rows and rows of these pods. Some of the pods are empty, but a lot of the pods contain people who don't appear to be as lucky as you. A lot of people don't appear to have survived the whole process of reviving. And you guys also feel terrible right now. You've got a pounding headache. You've got it feels like you woke up with a hangover and the flu, and that you've just been, crawled out of a barrel that was just rolled down a very bumpy hill. So you're having a really sort of bad moment as you're waking up from this. And now this is the time for you guys to sort of introduce yourselves and sort of discuss what you're up to.
See that first timer just running off in a complete panic. Like they've never been in a cryostasis before, man. Yeah. Oh, man, this just feels like another goddamn long weekend to me. Who are you?
Talea pushes back her hair. She has one of those long fringes with the side shaves as well. She looks over towards Chuffy and she'll say, "You need to turn that alarm off as soon as possible." "Where are we? Wait, who are you?"
Totally agree. Let's get this alarm off.
All right, introductions later, I guess.
There's got to be some sort of off switch here somewhere. Help me find a console or something. There's got to be a button to press, or I'll just start. Maybe I'll smash wherever it's coming from. Goddamn, where's that sound coming from? Chuffy goes look for the sound.
Yeah.
And the sound is basically coming from everywhere because there are speakers all throughout, and they are all broadcasting what is a pretty unpleasant noise when you're trying to deal with basically the worst hangover of all time.
It's definitely.
It's like
maybe we just cut those wires. Just cut the speakers. Get in the wires. Get rid of it.
Is there a console around here somewhere? Does anyone see?
There is a console that you guys can track down. And
all right, let's go see if there's a off button on that bullshit.
All right. Do we need to worry about weaponry or anything like that?
Let's deal with the sound first. I can't.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second here as
you can
I
see
pull up an image.
Talaya does not like this sound and does not like having this worst hangover. So as she's stumbling,
I think I was on a ship with a VV once. I don't recall being real personable either. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's very cool.
All right. So when you get to the console, there is a face on it, and the console has commands on it, but you can enter in console commands, but there's also just an image there, and it notes.
Focus groups found that a face made this more relatable and caused a 13% increase in following of instructions. As this is a life or death situation, please follow all instructions.
Listen here, if you don't turn off that noise, I'm going to smash this console right up. So turn it off.
Alarms are necessary due to imminent ship destruction.
I'm not going to be able to get much done with that noise, so you better turn it off, or I'm going to take this console down. I'm going to start smashing some things and see what happens.
Understood. Smashing equipment will lower expected odds of survival.
However, the alarm does shut off in this area. You can still
Hells
hear it
yeah.
through the ship, but the speakers blasting your particular corridor have decided to chill out for the moment.
Oh, I can think now. Thank you so much, Chuffy.
That's so much
I don't know
better.
if we've introduced each other. Maybe we have like name tags. Sorry.
Listen
No
here.
name
You
tag.
say your name was. You say your name was VV. Look, this isn't my first rodeo on a ship. So why don't you just tell me what it is we have to do so we can get this thing going?
All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to suppress my Discord notifications, which are just going nuts right now.
VV, I swear in the name of all that's holy, I am getting off this ship.
Seems that they're processing right now. Perhaps
Getting off
we
the
should
ship is an important goal. Ship destruction is imminent. Escape is recommended.
Well, thanks. I could figure that one out for myself. In fact, I did. Oh, that damn headache. Do you have any aspirin?
What's aspirin?
Medical supplies are available in the medical booth. However, medical booth is currently experiencing an unexpected depressurization.
Okay. Who's flying this thing?
Currently, we are experiencing critical failures in piloting, engine control, attitude control, and other critical systems for flight.
Right.
Notably, the cabin has been depressurized, with loss of 8 lives.
Her eyes getting more red as she speaks to us.
Nope, the eyes are staying the same. It's just sort of a digital sort of image there.
That's very creepy.
Are there some escape pods on this bucket of bolts?
The escape pods remain. However, there are difficulties with the escape pods. We apologize for the inconvenience.
Right. Question: where are we? I don't remember getting on this luxury cruise, or agreeing to even being here.
Currently, we are in orbit, around inhabited planet. Navigation and location instrumentation has been destroyed.
Okay. None of that made sense to me. Does that make any sense to you? Do you know where we are or why we're here? It looks to my companions.
I don't know anything, man. It's another day on the job for me. It's not the first time I've been in a situation like this. If Zayya's not going to help us, I suggest that we start looking for the escapes ourselves. I'm sure we can get the escape pod in working order if we have to push it out of the damn docks ourselves with our feet.
I'm a damn good pilot, so if we can get into something that I can steer, I'm for that. But I don't know how we got here. Why we are here. Does that even bother you all?
No, I'm more concerned about, not blowing up on this ship. Let's deal with
How?
one problem at a time.
Can we get an estimate on explosion?
Collision with planet's surface estimated in approximately 2 hours.
Right,
However, planet system is an inhabited system. Notably,
Shoot.
planetary defenses are locking on to our vessel.
Right, okay. So 2 hours estimated, but there's a chance that they're going to shoot us down. So even less time.
Yeah, basically, you guys are in a large ship, and it is heading towards the surface of an inhabited planet, and would come down like a bomb. So before the 2 hours, there is going to be a response from the planetary defense systems, which will try to sort of cut the ship into bits small enough that they won't hurt anyone on the surface.
They burn up in the atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is not a good situation for anybody who happens to be on the ship
On the ship. Yeah.
at the time.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. I think
Let's
first order of
start
business.
trying to find some way to get off
is-
of here then.
Getting the heck off the ship. Exactly. I'm Talaya. Nice to meet y'all. Who are you? As we're making our way to
Tolquist.
Southwest.
So the doors are not locked, so you guys are able to get out, and then there's a T-junction into the hallway. You can hear noises from around. There's people sort of shouting, and there's a fairly things are fairly echoey in here, right? They're metal hallways, and so you can't really tell where some of the screaming is coming from. It sounds like a lot of people did not follow the instructions about do not panic. And yeah, there are some blood droplets leading to the right, which appears from labeling to be towards the bow of the ship. So apparently the other person who was, woke up and ran off went towards the bow of the ship with their sharp piece of glass.
Yeah. Damn first timers. Everyone always panics. You just gotta keep calm, carry on, man.
All right, so you are clearly very experienced with being hoisted into not a hostile situation. What should we do next? What are the steps to survival here?
Well, look, all we can do is trust ourselves, because all these other people running, screaming around themselves, is gonna work themselves into total panic.
Okay.
So either we gotta do one of two things. We either gotta get control of the ship and get it out of orbit, or we gotta find ourselves an escape pod and eject.
I mean,
So
if the ship's
in pretty bad shape, given what the AI said. So I recommend we try to find the escape pods and go that route.
I would agree with you
All
there.
be worried about the planetary defense system.
We don't have to worry about the ethical dilemma of a planet getting commented by this thing, because there are planetary defenses coming in soon. So we don't have to worry about saving the folks down there. And the people up here, well, it does seem that
Let's
we're all
just worry
fending for
about
ourselves. Exactly.
I didn't
This
even
is-
contemplate that there were other people. What are you talking about? But whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Let's get off this ship.
They make you do ethics in pilot school for some reason. I don't know why, but
There are sounds of other people, but you don't know where exactly they are because they're kind of echoing through. And yeah, some people are shouting, some people are screaming, some people are, people are not having a great time. But you're not exactly sure where they are right now. And to be honest, you're not exactly sure where you are right now.
I'm gonna look out for any sort of like insignia or something that would sort of like give me some know for why we're here. Even just an environment description. Is this like a science vessel? Does it look more of a military vessel? Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Is there another
Because
console around without the lady on?
There's consoles around, but they all have the virtual intelligence image on them. However, you can access the console directly. Like, you don't have to address the virtual intelligence if you don't want to.
Right.
But you can just access
Can I try and hack
commands.
her, please?
Can I just
Yep.
pull up a ship?
I've
Can I
got
pull
some
up a
things
ship?
coming back. Can I try and hack the console?
Yep, you certainly can. Now
Does
I
this
forget.
Let's
Do
get
you
us
have
a map.
computer?
Sorry,
Do you have computer in your skill
I'm-
set?
I have hacker.
That'll do it. Yeah, I forget the skill list here.
Well, if you forget it, what chance the rest of us got?
So you've got program is the skill.
Yes, I believe so. Hold on, let me just check. the
All
sheet.
right. It just matters in terms of making a D20 roll.
I've got scholar and expert. Scholar background, expert class, but hacker and gunslinger.
Oh, hacker is the feat or the when you look at your skill list, have you got program
No, I don't think so. Hold on.
or the focus?
check focus.
You should, because hacker comes with program as a bonus skill. All right, so what you're going to do is roll, if you've got program at 0, which you should at least have 0, you might have 1. Roll 3d6 and you're going to drop the lowest die.
Okay. I've lost Discord. Where is it? Sorry.
All right, so you get to drop that 1. So you've got a total of 11, which is more than enough to get you in on this particular console.
Excellent.
So you've got access to do pretty much what you'd like.
I'd like
Yes.
to.
Get us a map.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, trying to get a map up.
All right, so you're able to bring up a an original manifest or an original design spec for the ship. The problem is that it appears that the original specs have been modified a little bit, and nobody's ever bothered to put in a proper update on this. Now, the important, this is something that violates several sets of rules about, ship design, but right now it shows that you are in a cargo hold. So right now this should be a giant empty space. It is not a giant empty space. It's been sort of modified. So one of the things Talea with sort of ship experience would probably recognize here is that this appears to have been modified for passenger transport, and specifically mass passenger transport, where you don't really want people, you're not providing them with a comfortable moving around kind of experience. They are just going into cryosleep. Why you guys were put into cryosleep without, sort of asking you any questions or anything like that is another important question. But it appears you guys were sort of packed in like cargo, which is not a great place to be. So you're technically in a section. You're technically in a section of the ship that is not on the map exactly. However, what you can see is that there is sort of towards the front at the bow, they've got a sort of a captaining section. Behind that is crew quarters and medical bay and like a cafeteria. Then there's the cargo hold, which ordinarily this would be depressurized, and except for little access tunnels, which, right now you're breathing just fine, even though you're not in a vacuum suit, so not depressurized. And although this might be an original access tunnel, you're not exactly certain on the design elements. Towards the back is engineering, where they've got, engines and so forth, as well as escape pods are located towards the bottom of the ship. So that would be sort of where you'd end up having to go for that. And there are escape pods essentially lining the bottom of the ship. There's several, assuming they're also still here, because a lot of the time when people start chopping up ships, they might, for instance, get rid of a bunch of escape pods because they are, places you could use for extra cargo or something along those lines. And the ship's AI chimes in and says,
Unfortunately, the spike drive lock has been engaged through artificial means. While it is in place, escape pod launches are impossible.
Oh, shoot. I will say this, from that map right there, we were the cargo, but do we still want to go with the escape pods?
I think we should give it a shot. Damn AI is just saying can't do it because it doesn't want us to, but man, I say we can.
Well, let's give it a go via the medical bay, and we can get some tablets for the heads.
That's a good idea.
Should look out for anything that we can use as a weapon as well. People in a panic, they can get desperate. Piece of glass, a pipe, anything.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that
And
looks
the,
around like a loose piece of pipe or anything like that?
There's still bits of broken shards from where the other woman broke out, so you could recover some sharp bits.
Is it
They're not
possible
going to
for
be the
me-
most fun to hold because they're
Yeah.
just bits of
Broken
glass.
glass. Yeah.
You said we were
But,
wearing
I
like
mean-
a gown or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a medical gown. It's basically like a onesie.
Yeah.
You guys are in bare feet, which, stepping around the broken glass was a good thing. But beyond that, it zips up in the back, and it's
Has
just
it got sleeves?
it's got sleeves. Yeah,
Can I tear off
they
one of
are.
my sleeves?
Yep, absolutely.
Hells yeah. I'm gonna tear off one of my sleeves. I'm gonna wrap it around one of the biggest pieces of glass I can to make a makeshift handle.
Yep. So you've got sort of a rudimentary stabbing thing. It's
Yes.
not really what you'd like, best for stabbing, but it is. Yeah, and
Hells yeah.
the garments you're in provide basically no protection. They wouldn't hold up to a knife or a club, or quite possibly even rain. You're not actually sure if they're entirely waterproof, for example. So
Amazing.
it's yeah.
The bird laughing like me.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Well,
That's
let's
awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
Make our way to that medical bay, then get something for our heads, and then make our way to the escape pods.
So the medical bay is towards the bow. So you turn and you're following along behind the sort of the blood droplets that were left behind. Because if you remember that woman whose name you didn't get because she didn't stick around at all, she is bleeding from her head. So she was headed that direction. So you guys are heading up that way, and the birds are great. I'm
The
just
birds are
like,
there.
I'm
I'm sitting
sorry.
there with the cackling. I'm just amused that the one sounds very human with its cackling. And I'm just like, so eventually you guys get to a junction where it splits off, and it notes that there's a cafeteria first off, and then it continues further down. And the door to the sort of cafeteria space is currently closed. The blood droplets actually go into the cafeteria as opposed to further down.
Well, is the cafeteria the way to the med bay?
No, you'd go further down and then you'd turn again to get to the med bay.
I have no interest in going to follow the droplets. I don't care who this woman is. So
No, let's
let's just head our way to the med bay.
Yep.
All right, so you guys
Flo.
So you guys continue on towards the medical bay. And one of the things you guys notice is you can get to the med bay, but beyond the med bay are vacuum doors. And these are designed to seal automatically in the event of a depressurization incident, which means that beyond those doors, you're basically breathing a whole lot of empty space, which is not medically recommended. Beyond that, you can see there is dust in, sort of, and particulates. It looks like something has gone terribly wrong on that end. But you can see something moving. Something black is moving past there.
It's moving.
I know what it is, and I don't care. Just want to get ourselves to the med bay, just head in that direction, deal with problems as they arise. I'm not chasing down phantoms. Whatever crew members might be doing their panic dance.
What if it's chasing us, though? We should be prepared.
We certainly aren't gonna. What do you have in mind?
I don't know. We're caught with our pantaloons down. We have nothing. I have this piece
Gotta
of
have
glass, but
yourself-
that's about it.
Let's go to the med bay. Maybe we can find something there that we can use, or weapon or something. But gotta stay on task.
All right. So when you guys go into the medical bay, it's a small little space. There are 2 beds that are essentially kind of rudimentary surgical beds, but they're really not intended for anything major. They're sort of intended for if you got hurt and you might need some sort of attention. But the assumption here is probably that they don't have like a full doctor on staff or anything along those lines. There are various bits of like drawers and so forth. Unfortunately, the organization of these has taken a bit of a dive. Somebody has already been in here and has opened up a lot of the drawers and sort of shuffled things out. And there's one person in the corner who is passed out. And they've got a bottle of pills next to them. They are just unconscious. They're completely beyond, beyond your reach. But they're, so finding things is going to be a bit of a challenge.
What do you
here,
mean they're beyond
but,
my reach? They're in the corner, right?
I mean, they're in the corner, but for all intents and purposes, they are a sack of meat right now. They're just
Pills,
way
but the pills are in
unconscious.
my reach.
The pills are
Yeah,
in
that's
reach,
that's all we care about. What are the tablets?
Yeah.
So
Go with the
they got
tablets.
into some painkillers, and they just took a lot of them. They're
Great.
still like the person's still alive, but
We
they're
don't
not
care
good.
about. We don't care about that person. What are the tablets?
Yeah.
Tablets are
Painkillers?
painkillers.
Okay,
Great.
how many are left?
Well, I'll take one and swallow it.
Sounds good. It acts pretty quickly, and you feel both a little bit daisy and also much, much better.
Oh yeah, that's the good shit.
Chuck me one, please.
I do that.
Too.
I do that as well.
All right. So you guys hand around the painkillers. Anything else you're looking for in here?
Are there any other drugs here, or are there any medical devices, scalpels, syringes,
What the bed's
Syringes,
made out
yes.
of?
tubing,
What's that?
tubing, bandages,
Yep.
tape, gauze?
Yep.
Beds. What are they made out of?
The beds are made out of like a vinyl sort of surface with steel.
So,
And the beds
Can I-
are built
can
into
I-
the...
we yank the steel and we get a bashy thing?
It might be a little difficult, but there's a chair that you could take apart to get a
Great,
a
let's
good
do that.
bashy thing.
Okay. Yep.
Metal club is a good start.
That's what I
So
was
you guys
thinking.
at this point...
Is the sorry.
So you guys manage to arm yourself sort of as you wish with small or medium primitive weapons, which can be sharp or blunt at your wish. There.
Oh, gotta go sharp.
Definitely sharp.
Now, this individual that's also passed out, are they wearing the same garb as we are?
They are. They're in exactly the same kind of, clothing.
All right. Yeah, there's a look of concern on Talea's face. You're just gonna leave him here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing. Are there any other drugs, any vials, or anything like that?
There is a reasonable collection of. They don't have anything too sort of fancy or expensive, but they've got a lot of the sort of basics. This seems to be sort of built for if you have some sort of accident doing whatever, to just keep you patched up for long enough to hopefully get to a place that has a proper hospital.
Do you have any sort of sedative agents or paralytics?
There are sedatives, but they're not like fast, like super fast acting. No paralytics per se, but there is some like anesthetic stuff. It's just not. It'll take a few minutes.
No, it's better than nothing. I'll take that stuff too, because like maybe I can spill it or throw it or use it on cloth or something. That's the case maybe. So I'll take that stuff.
Sounds
And
good.
I
You're sort
say-
of loading up a bag of stuff.
Good plan.
All right, guys, we got what we need here. I say we head from here and go back to the escape pods.
Are we gonna leave each other behind like this one? If we need to, is that what we're gonna agree to?
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the escape pod, and you guys are welcome to join me or not.
Right. Okay.
He
Sorry,
was
buddy.
advised of the risks of his course of action. His estimated survival is low.
What is the
Virtual
most?
intelligence.
What is the highest? What do we do to what do you suggest?
Analysis suggests that it is unlikely that comms can be restored or that ship drives can be re-engaged within time frame. Damage appears targeted, specific.
This doesn't
However-
do anything to tell me how to fix the problem. What should we do?
Reactivation of the escape pods does appear to be possible.
All right, how do you suggest we do that?
Escape pod locks are automatically engaged when a signal from the spike drive is detected along the cable running along the spine of the ship. Spike drive is not currently engaged. However, what appears to be an artificial spike drive signal is being broadcast along this spinal connection.
That's no problem. I'll
As a
just rip out
result,
the cabling out of the wall.
all escape pods have been locked because using an escape pod in the middle of a spike drive engagement will void your life insurance and represents an insurable event.
Y'all
I
have
don't
life
care about-
insurance? I don't have life insurance.
I don't care about any life insurance. I'll just rip the damn cabling out of the wall.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's go towards the
yeah.
escape pods.
Talea is going to hold hopefully a gesture for the bottle. If not, who has the painkillers?
I suppose I do. All the other
Did you,
drugs and medications.
do you think I could hold on to those painkillers?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
All right, so was it now when you guys head you're gonna need to find sort of a route downwards, and it takes a bit of backtracking because forwards at this point towards the bow leads to vacuum, which you guys have neither the ability nor I assume the inclination to experience right now. But if you guys circle back, eventually you can find sort of tunnel ways downwards. And that sort of, and there are indicators that note escape pods towards that direction. However, those indicators have been, like the panels have been sort of defaced, and it looks like it wasn't recent. It looks like that was some time ago. Somebody sort of scratched it out with some sort of tool.
We know where they are because we have a map, right?
Not a
You
very
guys-
good map. It's a map that's been changed, so
You guys
The
have a
computer
map
told
of
us-
sort of the original factory specifications, and
The computer,
nobody
told,
ever
the computer
bothered
told us that
updating
they
it.
were in the bow of the ship, didn't they?
It did.
All right, let's just go towards the bow of the ship then.
do we trust a computer?
Yeah, why not?
That dog's not mine.
That's my dog. And the virtual intelligence pipes up.
My purposes are to assist with maximum saving of life and also to identify causes of accident in order to prevent recurrence.
I really don't care about the cause. I'm just going to get off this damn ship. Let's go towards the escape
He's right.
pods.
We're getting the hell out of here because we didn't even agree to be here. You damn computer. Telling us what we need to do and where we need to go. I'm getting frustrated. I'll kick the panel.
Thankfully, the panels are designed to be pretty tough. It would take some work to get it to
Don't
to
break your
tear it
toes.
apart.
Ah!
All right, so you guys head downwards, and as you start heading downwards, you hear shouting and arguing coming from up ahead.
More conflict. I grip my
Let's
My
just stop and
gosh.
listen for a while and see if we can hear what they're saying.
It's not a bad idea.
So what it appears is that there are currently you hear sort of arguing with people sort of demanding they seem to be fighting over saying, hey, there's more of us here than there are seats on this pod.
Excellent. Well, guys, looks like some of us already beat it. I say we go in swinging, take out the competition, show we're serious, and hijack one of these pods.
We're going to murder.
We're going to survive.
I have an alternate suggestion.
But the bludgeoning. But what do you got?
The pod access from engineering is not well labeled and does not currently have a crowd of individuals. The violence at this stage will reduce your odds of survival.
Why fight if we don't need to? I mean, as frustrated as I am with this VV, if we can save the scrap, we probably shouldn't.
Wait, okay. I'm thinking, because we have all these pills, I'm thinking maybe... All right, so we have some... What forms are the sedatives or tranquilizers, or what do we have from the medicine bay that could potentially cause someone to be sleepy?
You grabbed tubing, didn't you?
We do have tubing.
You've got some injectable solution and some stuff that needs to be breathed, but it needs to be breathed in fairly high concentrations.
Well, we don't necessarily need to knock them out. We just need to slow them down so that we can bash them to death. So if we could take the injectables and turn them into a gaseous form, and maybe we could take the pills and we could mortar and pestle them and turn that into a breathable powder and the other thing and throw it into the room. And then they would cause them to be sluggish, and then we beat them to death and we take the pod.
Is it just one pod?
Well, apparently they're arguing
multiple...
over a Titanic style.
There are multiple pods on the ship, but this one has a crowd around it.
Yeah,
of people.
What I'm thinking is maybe we can try and sneak down a bit further and go and grab a pod from this lower down that might not have a crowd around it, instead of just going in and battering people.
Well, the problem is the ship, remember, said that the destruction of the ship is imminent. Time is a major factor here. So I don't want to go hunting off for some pod that we're just going to run to another obstacle.
Do we even know that pod is operational? We don't even know if it's powered up. Is it locked?
It's going to take us as much time.
Activating the pods will require disrupting the artificial signal along the spine of the ship. Unfortunately, this system is not accessible from inside the ship.
This is getting more and more complicated.
How is the locking mechanism done? There's no manual override for the locking system?
There is no manual override, as normally discharging an escape pod during the middle of a spike drive transit is fatal. If you consider a divide by zero error happening to flesh, this is not a survivable incident.
Well, can we send a different signal to disrupt the signal? We don't necessarily have to end the signal. All we have to do is disrupt it. Can we transmit a different signal that would cancel it out or disrupt it in some way?
Access to the spinal line is only accessible from outside the ship or via cutting from inside the ship.
Where are we cutting?
Maybe they know something that we don't. That's why they're crowding around that one. Maybe there's someone out there trying to cut the line as we speak. I don't know.
Maybe they're just panicking and... Space pigeons, I like that.
Which one of us, if one of us needs to go out there to cut it or to disrupt it, We need a suit, right? I don't even know how to get out there.
That
Phoebe,
bird is
What is the
creepy.
locking mechanism that is used? Is it like some sort of bolts? Can they be like? How is the locking? What is the locking mechanism?
The locking mechanism disables the explosive bolts, which release the escape pod.
Explosive bolts. I didn't know that's possible.
Vivi, I have a question for you. Are you this helpful with everyone else, or just us?
Yeah.
My objectives are to maximize the saving of life. However, many people have fallen to panic and are not listening.
Well, see, this is my thing. Like, this is also a reason. If her objective is truly to maximize life, and there's already like a number of people here, then she might be sending us off on a fool's errand, because she'll save the people that are here to get into this escape pod while we go on a fool's errand to suffocate. So I say we go with my plan of killing everyone by bashing them in the head.
It seems to be your plan quite a lot of times.
Murder.
The bludgeoning solves many problems.
It's definitely
Okay.
one tool in a many varied tool belt, right? So like we need to figure out if that option is the one that gets us. Like, well, obviously we want to survive, so we established that that's our character's main goal right now is to survive.
Can I try and hack her again and see if I can see where how to get the pods started?
Yep,
Does
you
that,
can.
does that make
go.
sense?
Yep, give me a 3d6 roll on this, and yeah. 3d6 and drop the lowest. All right, so 3, 6, and 6, so a 12, which is a solid roll. What are you looking for?
Trying to find out how to get the pods switched on and how we could do that, and maybe if we could see some other pods that we can get to that aren't crowded.
So most of the pods are sort of along the bottom of the ship. As the AI mentioned, there is another pod that is accessed through the engineering section, which is probably intended for whoever is stuck working the engines. It's sort of a little more recessed and is accessed via crawl spaces. So it's sort of a little more inaccessible. In terms of the pod launch, the pods are launched via a console in the pod. So that's where you'd launch it from. However, the lockout system that the virtual intelligence was telling you about is basically that there is a signal there's a set of wires that connect from the spike drive, which is the thing that lets you travel from planetary system to planetary system in a time frame that doesn't involve dying of old age. And normally, basically, it's just a passive wire, such that it takes a signal when the spike drive is engaged, and that locks out all the pods. It's a safety system designed to keep somebody from jumping in a pod or accidentally launching one at a point where it would get you killed. Unfortunately, what the virtual intelligence was, saying is that something is broadcasting a fake signal. So there's basically spoofing a spike drive down this, which any of you have any sort of engineering background?
I mean, I've got like pilot background, but I think a lot of my stuff is actually. Oh, I've got fix.
Yeah, this is something that shouldn't be possible. Like, the spike drive signal is kind of a unique and distinctive signal.
Yeah.
So when the spike drive's not operational, there is no source for anything like that. Basically, the only way you get this kind of thing is somebody's intentionally fucking with the pods.
Okay. I'll elaborate that. This whole situation is being engineered. Someone's intentionally trying to stop the pods. It's not possible for that
It's
spark
possible
signal
to
to be
get the,
happening.
but it's possible to use the engineering pod. Wouldn't it have the same signal sent to its explosive bolts? I think the A's lying.
It does have the same signal. There is an issue with regards to dealing with the signal if you want to launch a pod.
Maybe I go over there and I speak to someone over there around the pods to find out exactly why they crammed around that one. You guys got my back.
Oh man, I don't want to talk to them. They're gonna lie to us.
Let her talk.
There's
Let her talk to them, and then, if necessary, we bludgeon them to death. Okay, just a couple of minutes. Not going to hurt.
Chuffy's like, but I want to kill them.
They need to
it violates the
die.
basic principles of operational security because you're alerting them to our presence. They'll know that we're a threat rather than being able to surprise them.
Yeah, we hide. She goes through.
Fine.
Just one of the other members of the throng not getting in.
All right. Well, you're on your own then. Good luck to you.
All right. I grip my glass. I move forward.
All right, so you head down, and there's a lot of people, and several of them are already sort of packed into the pod, and a bunch of other people are trying to get in. They've got two sort of people, each of whom is armed with, like, they've found bits of things that they've sort of sharpened on the ground, and they're sort of blocking the front, as there's probably another 20 people who want to get into the pod. But there's 8 seats in the pod, and they've got 8 people in the pod, and they're sort of not wanting to let anyone else on board. So this is the source of contention, because you've got people going, well, it can take more of us. We'll stand, or, and why do you guys get a seat just because you got here first? I'm there's people saying that they're important people back where they came from. There's somebody who's going, and saying, like, I've got kids at home. They're basically in a big argument over who gets on this pod. Now,
is there anyone that's
every once in a while,
aside?
There's people at the back who are sort of hanging back. Every once in a while, you do see the guys who are in the pod are trying to hit the launch button, and it's not launching.
All right. I'm going to go to one of the ones at the back and say, hey, what's happening here?
And he says, well, there's not enough escape pods. Says, I've been to 3 pods, and it's like,
why are we all fighting over this one?
Have you seen the other pods?
I look over to see if I can see them from where I am.
And the other pods are, you'd have to sort of walk down
go into a different room. Yeah, okay, go. No, yeah. I haven't. What are the other pods look like?
This is 2 pods down. They stabbed a guy.
Who stabbed a guy? The other pods?
He tried to get on, and they stabbed him. They killed him.
Jeez.
Things are tense.
Right. Okay. So the other pods are filled with people that are willing to die for them. Or kill for them.
Somebody said that he had a gun, but then when he pulled it out, it was just a fake, and they beat him to death.
Okay. So it's just like here. These ones can do the same thing. They're willing to kill to stay in this last pod. There's only 3? That's a lot of questions. I'm sorry.
He says, some of the pods are gone. One of them is full of stuff, and people are trying to dig it out, but it's taking a while. But there's way more of us than there are pods. So there's 5 pods, as best I can tell, and there's
have any of them left?
There's got to be 150 extra people,
and only 8 to a pod. Right. Well, this one's not working. The other one's not working. Have you heard any word about that?
No, and the instant one pod launches, you're gonna see bloodshed. This place is gonna. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I take my chances, but the The computer lady says we're gonna get killed.
Wait, the computer lady's talking to you too?
And
Sid pipes up. Please remain calm, but
then everybody proceeds to ignore her.
Man, well, standing around squabbling about all this isn't going to solve the issue. Perhaps we need someone with a lick of leadership to perhaps help everyone here that is trying to fight over the few seats that there are.
And the guy kind of shrugs. He's clearly not the leader type. He's hanging out at the back, just not really sure what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, thank you. Good luck. All right, I'm gonna go back. And then make sure I'm not being followed, or make sure no one's like watching me.
All right. Yeah, nobody bothers to follow you because they're all
all eyes
hanging out.
forward. Yeah.
Every once in a while, you see somebody move, but they're not going back up. They're going down or up towards another pod bay. So basically, they're just every once in a while, somebody's like, "Hey, is it better over at the other pod?" And you see people are kind of filtering back and forth towards the back.
Gang, you can come out. I wasn't followed or watched, as far as I could tell.
Okay, what's the status? Sorry.
The other pods, they're all mobbed. People are trying to get on. They're already killing each other. I don't think more killing is gonna help this situation.
I disagree.
The pods aren't launching. They're all on lockdown as well. There's one pod apparently that's being dug out. But
as soon as the locks are disengaged, expect all of these pods to launch.
The other consideration is if we unlock them, those pods are gone. We unlock them, they're gonna hit that button, they're out of here, and there's no pods left for us anyway. This is a very hard
Unless
situation.
we kill them, and then we can disable the signal, and then we can take the pod.
Apparently there's almost 200 people here, all looking for pods. We kill them, they're gonna take the pod.
If we kill them, they won't take the pod because they'll be dead.
I'm thinking if you want to still kill and maintain and hold down a pod, perhaps we need to do some recruiting. There's 4 of us, or 3 of us. We can get another 4 to 5 people to help us, but we need to pick.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'll do this out of voice because it's a little bit hard to do voice.
No, that's fine.
But here's what I'm thinking. You've got a group of people inside a doorway because you just came from that doorway, right? So if we induce a panic inside the room, they're going to come through this door. So what we can do here is we can use our medical supplies on hand.
Is this Chuffy in voice, or is this player? Is this player talk?
Well, no, I'm telling you. This is Chuffy telling you. I'm just going to do it out of voice.
Chuffy without voice.
Yeah, because it's a little bit hard to do voice.
You're right.
But what we can do is we can take the medical supplies that we have and create some sort of aerosol, right, in the room that will cause them to panic, which will cause them to breathe more, which will cause them to inhale more of it, which will cause them to affect more. And if we can figure some way when they're coming out, rushing through the exit, first of all, they'll likely trample each other. Second of all, as they're coming through the door, if we can find some sort of like improvised explosive or something we can do so when they're coming through the door as the funnel, that we can hit them as they're coming through the funnel, we should be able to manage this pretty successfully because there's more of them trying to get through a tight door and we're on the other side of it and we know where they're coming through and all the things I just said. So translate that into Chuffy voice.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not an engineer. I just drafted things. This spark signal that's being sent, is it not far away from the pods?
It could be coming from anywhere, it seems like. But the problem is, as you said, once we disrupt the signal, the pods will launch, unless there's someone out to launch them. So the first thing we got to do is take away our competition. Then we can disable the signal. Then we can take the pod to victory.
I'm just trying to figure out how we are going to be in two places at once. If
We don't
let's
have
say
to be.
that
We're going to be here. We take out the crew. We take out the people now together as a team. Then we go find the thing. Then we come back.
I'm just worried that our vacancy will be filled once we leave the pod to come back.
I don't know where this plan comes from, but did anybody see a nebulizer in the med bay? Thanks, Nurse Liz.
Yep.
And I asked if there was anything like that, so presumably I have it on me.
Yep. No, that's perfectly fine.
So we have
You
one.
were scavenging a whole bunch of stuff there.
Right, well, we've survived this far, so you have my support with this plan. I say that we get to cracking the egg so we can make the omelet.
Yeah. So the only other thing is, like, what are we going to do when they come rushing through the door? So can we set up some sort of trap as they come through the door? It would be nice if we had some sort of grenade that could explode as they came through the door. In the alternative, it'd be nice if we had some sort of spikes or something that we could bring down so we don't have to fight them manually.
I think all we have is our rudimentary weaponry and our wits.
We got the bashing.
We got the bashing.
Not
yeah.
ideal, but it'll work.
Yeah, we've got the legs from the chair and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Or anything in the room that's outside of the med bay, or well, I apologize. Or anything in the room outside of where the escape pods are that the door they would come through? Is there anything in this room?
They're fairly empty hallways, and probably intentionally so, because you don't want stuff flying around in space. Right now, there's artificial gravity going on, which makes things a lot easier, but you can't always be certain of that. And like a wrench flying at speed down a gravityless hallway becomes a very serious hazard. So everything
How about oil or water? Is there anything like that around that we've seen, or other liquids?
Water you could probably get out of the cafeteria. Oil, probably engineering. Otherwise, there's pipes that you could try to rip into, but that has potential problems.
Yeah. Well, I can't go to the cafeteria. That won't work from what I was thinking.
that was my idea going for that one, but
Yeah, I was thinking like boiling water or something and throwing it on them as they came through the door, but it won't stay heated. All right, why don't we just nebulize the sedatives and we'll try bashing anyone who comes through the door.
All right, so is that the plan? Is the murder plan?
I don't think it was a great plan. There's about 200 people in this.
Yeah, so I think just as we're sort of like getting together and figuring out exactly how I want to do it, I think.
Is there any way to
Leo,
block the door instead so that they can't come through it?
I don't know if we got enough.
The
drugs
doors
to-
aren't really on. Yeah, the doors are sort of on automatic openers. So that's sort of a difficulty with that.
I'm going to raise it again. Talea's going to raise it again. She's going to say, I do think that perhaps we should try and find someone that has our shared interest. Obviously, we all want to survive, but maybe some loners or some other meaner looking folk that don't look like they're getting along with everyone. At best, we have someone that can help us guard and get out of here. At worst, the stab is in the back, but we're prepared for that, right?
I don't to see how we're going to be able to trust anyone in a situation like this.
Maybe Vivi can help us find someone that has some skills and that aren't encumbered by family or friends.
This would be the perfect time for David to show up.
It really would be, wouldn't it?
I mean, in 200 people, there's bound to be someone that puts their survivability over others, like we are. we're doing.
That's a problem, though. If we find someone like that, they're going to put their
Estimates of
survivability above us.
survival are low for the people gathered around these pods.
Right? Is there anyone else that's trying to fix things or do something?
I still think we need to head towards the engineering pod. I think that's our best bet.
Yeah.
I know, Chuffy, you want to go and murder, but
Murder. Red rum.
Look, this is a life and
There
death
are
survival
many
situation. I'm just
individuals
saying,
who are-
guys.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely, 100%. That's why.
yeah, I
that's
just
why
don't
Talea
think we have enough drugs to take out that amount of people.
Yeah, that's why Talea has been like residing the point most of the time. Talea's been like, yeah, I'm trying to survive, so 100% on board with that.
It's a perfectly crumulent plan. Thank you very
I
much.
think the crazy vent lady was in front of us, to be honest.
There are a number of individuals attempting unusual plans.
How many? In what groupings are they?
Disregarding those who are currently at the pods, estimated 15 to 20 in groups of 1 to 3.
I mean, that's perfect. We found one of those groups. The pods, from what I could see, they hold 8. So if we find someone else, I mean, we got some folks that have shared interest with us. Then we have guards. Then we have someone that can go out and cut the line or whatever, like
Why would they do that?
to survive, like you said.
No, the problem is, remember, the moment they cut the line, the signal stops. Then anyone who's left inside is going to hit the eject buttons, and those pods won't be available anymore. So why would anyone go outside to cut the line? Because there's not going to be a pod for them to get back to.
But do they know?
Space wizard. Hello. So
Welcome.
we should give David a quick rundown of what's going on. So, because everyone else sort of saw what was going on, and you were, I think, driving here as fast as you can, and hopefully you weren't watching the channel while you were driving.
No.
So, you in some fashion got knocked unconscious and woke up in a strange place with the worst hangover you've ever felt. It's like a combination of the worst hangover plus the worst flu, plus imagine being stuffed in a barrel and rolled down a bumpy hill.
Okay.
You then wake up in a pod with a whole bunch of text on the front of it. And there's an alarm going off.
Oh no, not the alarm again!
Oh no.
And so the pod opens up, and you're separate from the rest of the people at this point. There are some other people who sort of immediately sort of take off in various directions. However, there's also a virtual intelligence who is sort of ever present throughout the ship, which is right there. So this is Evie, the ship's emergency virtual intelligence, who is trying to sort of provide suggestions. Whether or not Evie is, trustworthy is a matter that the chat has been debating quite a bit.
Yeah.
So there's about 4 other people in your area when you wake up, and those people immediately sort of take off running. One of them swears at the virtual intelligence and basically says, screw you, lady, and goes off running. But people are just kind of abandoning you and leaving you on your own. So
Right.
You're sort of stuck there on your own as people are just panicking. But the virtual intelligence is saying such reassuring things as,
Please do not panic, even though you are almost certainly going to die.
apparently the main concern is that the ship, which is full of people is heading at full speed towards a planet, which would result in serious fatalities. However, the worst problem is that this is an inhabited planet and it has orbital defenses, and it's not about to allow a ship-sized object to collide with it at speed. So at some point, the orbital defenses are going to engage and reduce the ship into pieces small enough to burn up in the atmosphere.
Right.
It would be a very good idea not to be here when that happens.
Time to abandon ship.
We've been trying.
I see people saying one of the few space RPGs I play is Paranoia. Never trust the computer or obey the computer.
It's so true, though.
And I see people saying that they need a poll as to whether I got to figure out how to do a poll.
YouTube Live fascinates me. How does the messages come up? Are they like super messages that come up on the screen, or?
The other problem that we have at the moment is that there's some sort of artificial signal that seems to be coming. It's preventing the escape pods from launching. And apparently the only way to disrupt the signal is to go outside the ship.
Yeah, it's a spike signal, so it's like whenever you're like in a certain type of movement, it locks them down, because if you're in that movement, you don't want one of the escape pods like shooting off. But we did find out that it
I also like how the signal is fail deadly.
Yeah.
Well,
fail safe.
The way the system works is basically normally, so when you're traveling between gravity wells, you're going to be using the spike drive, which is basically folding space in ways that are that allow you to travel in a time frame that's going to result in you not dying of old age on the way from one system to the other. When the spike drive is engaged, it's generating a sort of particular pattern of electricity, and that is piped along a set of wires that then connect to the escape pods, which is a lockout system that keeps the escape pods from being launched while you're in the middle of a spike jump. Normally, this is a fairly safe system because there's only one source of this signal, which is the spike drive being in the middle of a jump. Unfortunately, something is presenting a signal like that, and as has been determined by sort of the rest of the group, the only way that happens is intentional sabotage. Something has to be generating that signal on purpose, and so that's a concern. Where's that signal coming from? But more importantly, how do you stop it? The AI has said basically that the only way to do so is going out to the wires via Spacewalk, or cutting through hull to get to it from the inside, neither of which is a great option, but one of them's a lot faster.
Makes sense.
Spacewalk.
So
am I with the crew, or am I still on my own and I'll regroup with them?
I am. So what I'm going to say is you guys are sort of wandering along looking for things, and as they sort of come down a hallway, there you are behind, as a door opens up, there is Dorgan, who can describe himself.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. My name is Dorgan, and I'm well, a human. I think. I'm not too sure. How did we get here? Who are you people?
I swear I wasn't followed. I made sure. We don't know. Dorgan, it was.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
All right. Okay. You seem rattled.
I'm very rattled. I'm very scared of the dark, and I don't like being on this ship, and I have a very bad fear of heights.
You understand that we're in space, so there's darkness and everywhere, and
Heights.
We're quite literally very high right now when it comes into relation to the planet we're about to crash into. All right.
I'm living a nightmare.
You are. We all are. Do you want a painkiller? There you go. Take that. It'll help with the headache and the
painkiller.
tension.
Where did you get this?
We went to the med bay.
I take it without asking questions.
But you just asked a question.
Without asking any more questions.
And
boy. That'll make
it
you
does
feel
cause
better.
a little bit of sort of, fuzziness, but not too bad. But it is a pretty powerful painkiller. So it is really helping with the whole woke up from the emergency revive out of cryosleep, which is not a pleasant experience. And as you would have remembered when you got up out of the pod, a lot of people didn't survive it. Like,
Now,
it had a failure rate of over 50% of just people dying.
Well, I must
So,
say, I feel much better now.
oh, that was a turn. That was almost instantaneous. I think that we should welcome to the group. At least I vote you in.
Yeah.
I think that
Excuse Chuffy, he might murder you.
Chuffy is very murderous right now. I think we should collate our skills. At least let each other know what we can do. I'm a pilot. I also have some psionic abilities that I was granted to help with my piloting. What about the rest of you?
I'm a scholar.
Okay.
My background
so
is scholar.
you were quite the whiz on that panel back there. So you're quite good at hacking.
Seems so. Yeah, I can't remember what I did before.
All right. What about you, Chuffy? What are you good at?
I'm good at surviving.
Well, that's good in a situation that we're in. All right. What about you, Dorgan?
I was a bartender some time ago.
I could use a drink.
I
Okay.
could always use a drink.
Do you have anything on you?
Do I have anything on me?
You are wearing a sort of paper cloth onesie that zips up in the back, and that is it.
I look frantically, going all over. Wait, where is it? Where did it go? It's missing.
Somebody took your booze.
Somebody took my flask.
Oh, it's all right. They took all our things. Worth a shot, though.
I need to get my things back.
All right. Tell you what.
You need to get off this ship, Dorgan, and get a grip. Ship's
Get out
gonna
of here.
explode.
When we get out of here and survive, I expect the best cocktail from you.
Dorgan, I swear to God, we are getting off the ship together. Now get a grip on it, and let's figure out how to do it.
Whatever you say, Chuffy.
Damn right. Chuffy starts heading off towards the engineering, since apparently that's what we decided on collectively.
Well, guys,
Well, we didn't.
knows where to
It
go.
was just an idea, but a good one. Let's go for that.
Oh,
All right, so you guys head further down, and mostly the shouting seems to be coming from towards the pod areas. It seems like most of the people have kind of filtered down there and are fighting over, and right now it's a lot of arguments, but people are getting tense, especially because every once in a while the AI comes on to remind people that they are in danger, which is not helping. It comes on to say, like, things like, we are receiving signals, warning of imminent activation of the planetary defenses. We have no way to respond.
I was about to ask that if there's a way to contact the planet.
Do we have any kind of outside
Communication systems appear to have been disabled by a small explosive.
Okay. No getting it back on then.
So the engineering is a small sort of pressurized space with a wide range of controls and essential systems that have been sort of put in there. It overlooks the drive, which is in an unpressurized space. So access to the drive itself is by entering into an unpressurized part of the ship. There are a rack of vacuum suits. There were originally 6. There are now 2. It looks like a bunch of them were removed at some point, and you're not sure where they went or whether that was recent or whatever else. But there are 2 vacuum suits that remain. There is there's an external port that allows exit from from the engineering to the ship hull. There is also various other aspects. There is a crawl space that allows you to travel into sort of the internal workings of the ship. So if you want to go and, for instance, fix a pipe or something like that, you can access it from that crawl space. The engine right now is basically, it's not engaged in like a spike jump, but it is absolutely going full tilt. Like this thing is basically burning rubber. And, metaphorically, because there is no road in space, but it is like top power right now.
I grab one of the grav suits.
You
Stop
you
putting
know
it
how to
on.
use that thing?
No, but it's gonna be much warmer than this medical gown.
That is accurate.
Are you actively painting in front of us, or like did you?
The
Talia
suit
does
can
have
actually fit
shame.
over the.
Okay, good.
It can fit over
Yeah.
like, because the suits you're in, like the onesies that you're in, are not super thick.
Yeah.
They're just like they provide some modesty, but they're not. It's like wearing a set of pajamas, kind of thing.
Right.
Does either of you two want to grab the next one?
Chuffy, what do you say?
Man, we're getting off this ship together.
Yeah, but do you want to get off it with your bits not hanging out, or?
I don't care. People can see Chaffy's bits. Ain't no mind.
Go for it, Dorgan, if you want it.
Okay then, Chuff. I'll take it then, and Dorgan will put it on.
Yeah, and the vacuum suits they're fairly tight fitting, but they're also fairly high tech. Like these things are, they come with a little sort of bubble helmet that is fairly sort of form fitting. But they are also designed for things like they do provide some resistance to being cut or whatever else, and they have self-healing, which is not necessarily the best if you're inside it, because if it gets stabbed, the suit will seal. But it's great for when you're in vacuum because they're built for dealing with small punctures and that kind of thing. So they're not they don't provide great armor, but at least better than the onesie. And yeah, once properly worn, they will allow you to go outside. The other thing is they do have an indicator as to whether or not you're either wearing them properly. So if you put it on and get it wrong because you don't have sort of experience, it'll tell you and sort of indicate the points of failure. They're pretty idiot proof. So and who was wearing it? Talia and
Talia.
Dorgan.
Yep.
All right.
Damn, do I look good in this? All right.
So the exit is via a ladder into like an airlock space up this ladder. And that airlock space is big enough for 6 people or thereabouts. Which would have been great if you had 6 spacesuits, but you don't. You've got 2. And Evie notes,
The previous users of the previous suits were taken by individuals who made poor choices. One woman decided, she indicated that the spacesuits on her world include grav chutes, and decided to leap directly for the planet. She was unwilling to listen to the fact that these spacesuits do not include orbit-capable grav chutes. Please be advised, the spacesuits you are wearing do not include orbital-capable grav chutes.
Well, that was good to note.
so
I did
when you
consider.
when you get out, you can actually hear the virtual intelligence in your, in the internal comms, and she's also broadcasting to the engineering space just to properly communicate with the rest of you, so that you guys can listen in. So the engineering space is able to hear.
Hell yeah.
The signal, the artificial signal, is coming from near the bow of the ship. However, you can center that signal at any point. If you cut it off close to where you are, it will release the engineering pod. Further up, you can release more pods.
Well, let's just release the one that's close to us. I don't give a damn about the other pods. They can figure it out themselves or not. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. How close are we to the pod?
So the engineering pod is accessed through that crawl space.
Right.
It's basically, you're going to have to climb around in the ship guts to get there, which is not the most fun, but it's also not super obvious.
Now,
Which is a benefit. In terms of the pods, like accessing the other pods are back behind you.
hold on there, Chuffy. I think I had an idea. Maybe we should activate one of the pods to draw their attention before we activate our own.
Nah, it's fine. Let's just activate her, and I don't give a damn. By the time they figure it out, it'll be too late for them.
And you guys would probably grab like a cutting torch from engineering for the purpose of cutting that one.
Sounds like a good plan. Yep.
All right.
Wait, are you guys hearing that robotic voice too?
Oh yeah, the whole time.
I thought that was just me.
Oh no.
I must say, it's very startling.
Do you usually hear voices? Disembodied
Oh.
voices?
All the time.
Oh,
I mean, I'm a bartender, so people talk to me a lot.
right. But what about when you're not tending bar and you're in the vacuum of space and in a ship that's crashing towards a planet that's about to blow it up?
Well, now I'm talking to you and you and you and that voice that's telling us where to go.
All right. Well, I'm very real, and I think everyone else is.
I'm still hoping this is just a dream.
Oh, it's not. I pick up the torch.
All right,
test
so
it.
you guys head out onto the surface.
Yep.
So the torch has its own.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you guys step out. The suits have both small attitude adjustments, so you can like float a bit in space, but they also have magnetic boots. So that's the easiest way to walk through this, is to handle the boots. Now, Talea would probably have experience and is relatively comfortable. Dorgan is probably having a little more trouble with the whole activate boot, step, deactivate other boot, step with that foot, and so forth. That process is a little less familiar.
There.
So where do you guys want to make a cut?
Whoever's going to help us get this engineering pod going is where we've got to make this cut.
So is there?
I'm assuming it's just those two out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you
Where-
guys can talk to them via the radio.
Are we in open space as well? Like, are we like? Is like?
From here, you've got a great vantage of open space, and you can see the planet, and it's really kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, give me, I forget what they call it in this, but I think it's notice.
Notice. It's just a D20 roll, and if I have no modifiers, is it just what's that?
If you have no modifiers, then it's -1.
-1. Okay.
And I'm just checking the skill
For
list again
notice.
just to be sure that that's what they call it.
Yep. Notice.
You as well, Dorgan.
No.
Notice, I think. I'm just checking the skill list because.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do have
notice.
Yeah, and it's a -1 because I have no skill in it.
Yeah, so you roll 2d6
2D.
-1.
2d6 -1
2d6.
on it.
Yeah.
I have the same thing. -1, that's a 5.
Okay.
-1, also a 5.
All right. So, way off in the distance, there is something following the ship, but you can't really make out what it is because it's kind of space colored. And so you have no idea what it is, but there's an outline back that way of something. Something is wrong back towards the bow of the ship.
There's something following us. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't see from our current vantage, but we're definitely not alone up here.
Why does your voice sound like that?
I'm speaking through the intercom.
Oh. God, I wish I had a
Your
voice.
voice also sounds like this.
Thanks for the heads up.
Oh, you're right.
You better cut that damn wire because we gotta get out of here.
We're on it, Chuffy.
Sorry,
wire.
Chubby.
Less lollygagging, more cutting.
Hey, more angry than a bullfrog in a sock.
Okay.
What happens
I
when
look
you
for
put
the
a
wire.
bullfrog in a sock?
Well, they get hopping mad. That's what.
You know, that
I
makes
look,
sense.
yeah. I look for the wire and I want to cut it.
All right, so you can find this. It's a substantial cable, but
Yeah.
you've got a cutting torch, and this
Yeah.
is not something that requires a check. You just
All right.
apply cutting torch until it severs.
Cut in the line.
And so if you guys are cutting it just behind sort of where you guys are, just sort of to release your pod, and Evie will let you know, like this is far enough. You can actually see the junction where it goes into the ship.
Yeah, sick.
Then nothing particularly happens on the rest of the ship.
All right.
All right.
Everyone
Cable's
else
cut.
is still fighting with their pods.
We need to hustle back there as soon as possible.
We got this?
Yep.
We're ready to go.
Okay, let's go. And I would like to just sprint back as fast as I can because
No,
it's
you
too
need to
dark.
step
And
one
I
at a
look
time.
down and now I'm
Dorgan.
afraid.
Target, you
And
need to let the mag
you're
boots
gonna have-
do their work.
You're going to have a hard time with that because you're in mag boots and you're a bartender and not super familiar with mag boots. So you're like trying to run and it's just making things worse.
In my head, I'm going as fast as I can, but I'm still going super slow.
All right. So these two return. And what all do you tell them about what you saw or what's going on there?
All right, we need to get into that pod as soon as possible. But quick brief: we saw something following us out there. The line's cut, the others aren't cut. But yeah, there's definitely something following us and something going on. Thank you for not running to the pod and waiting for us. By the way,
Chuffy's like, shit, should have thought of that.
Right, let's get to this pod then.
let's go.
You get a pod.
Grip my
All right, so
glass.
Chuffy's probably first down the tunnelway, and Evie will provide guidance as you go. She'll, step in
Turn left here.
with that kind of guidance to get you to the pod. This pod is pretty empty. There is no, there's no one sort of around because you had to climb through ductways to get to it. It's also not been as well kept. It is dusty here. However, the pod is open and not full of people.
Enter pod. Press
Lady
launch
Luck.
button. Escape.
Lady Luck is smiling on us.
Let's get in this pod quick.
Activate my
All
mind
right.
brutes just for extra protection.
So you guys go into the pod and you sort of get settled. Chuffy hammers the launch button and the door shuts. Now, as the door shuts, somebody slides out of the thing behind you. And give me 1 second while I pull up an image here. It's just going to take me...
You didn't notice
a
the
hot
person that was in the pod that's before pressing launch button is what you're telling me.
No, there's nobody in the pod. The pod is empty. Somebody comes out of the ductways behind you. And I
Okay.
just got to find an image here. Just give me 1 second.
But the pod door is already closed, right?
The pod door is already closed. It is beginning the launch sequence.
Okay, I don't care, but fine.
The birds are very excited. All right, give me
Love
a second
sci-fi.
here. I am
Birds are
just
playing too.
trying to bring this up. Fighting with StreamYard, because of course StreamYard is the worst.
StreamYard loves you.
StreamYard does not love me, nor does it want me to be happy.
I just signed up for Melon instead of StreamYard. We'll see if it treats me any better.
Is that
I'm interested in all these other like streaming platforms. Oh, that's cool. Because I only use OBS.
So
that's
this
terrifying.
is a set of vacuum, like it's somebody in vacuum capable armor that is entirely black. And this is much like you guys have these like rudimentary vac suits, like the two of them that you managed to grab. This is like a combat suit. And there's two guys who come out, and one of them immediately goes over to the panel, whips out a little computer, and starts trying to do things with the panel, and is sitting there. And the other one lifts up a rifle and fires several times at the thing. The downside to this is that he's armed with a vacuum rifle. And a vacuum rifle is specifically designed to not break things aboard a spaceship. And so it's not capable of puncturing through the glass. At that point, you hear the bolts release, and it is not quiet. The bolts releasing their explosive bolts, they go, and you guys start firing out of this launch chute at speed. So everybody who's not in a seat at this point is going to have a rough time, although nobody's going to, suffer injuries or anything like that. And so you guys immediately, you see the pod's got a fair number of windows, which now you see the ship receding behind you. Everybody inside, give me a notice check.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, do we get a chance to see what that thing is?
Yeah, give me a notice check.
Same. I got a 6 this time.
What is a notice check? Sorry.
2d6 plus whatever skill you've got in notice. If you don't have any skill, it's a -1.
That's a 10 for me.
4.
Okay, where's notice?
It should be on your sheet there under skills.
I think I've got a 1 in notice.
All right, then 2d6 plus 1.
Okay.
Apparently, wave.
8. So I got 7, so it'd be 8.
All right, so I think it was Dorgan and Tolquist. You guys get a pretty good view. There is a ship that is following along the ship you guys were in. Now, the ship you guys are in is basically a merchant trader style design. It is a big cargo hauler kind of thing. This other ship is like a patrol boat kind of combat ship. And it appears to be docked with the bow of the ship. And it has been, somebody has covered it with sort of a, essentially a camouflage coating that makes it hard to see. Now, you guys have very little in the way of sensor data on these pods because it has scanners, but the scanners are pretty much entirely designed to scan the planet. They're not intended to scan other ships at all. But it's probable that this ship has some sort of scanner jamming. So what you're looking at is kind of a scary ship. This is kind of something that is expensive and high tech. And probably, this is some sort of tactical raid on whatever ship you're on. But that's not your problem because you guys are making it out of there. What you also see is that ship is now disengaging. And as it disengages and moves away from the other ship, the orbital defenses start up. And the orbital defenses just start, initially, they're like large cannons that just kind of break things up. And then they start firing with, things like particle cannons, firing sprays of smaller particles to break things up. You guys are thankfully far enough away that you're not getting in the main sort of blast of that. However, you do feel a shock wave as the air and so forth blasts out of that ship and, sort of impacts you. You do see a couple of the escape pods tumble away, and you're not sure if they have been launched or if they have just been scattered by the explosion. But you guys have you feel the drive kick in the engines of this little escape pod, and it is taking you down towards the planet's surface. What you can see as you're sort of heading towards this is it is a desert planet with several large cities on it, including space elevators. There are substantial sort of orbital structures, and there is clearly, this is not sort of some rural sort of backwater. There's substantial construction here, but you guys are headed for middle of nowhere desert. Probably because a city is a bad place for an escape pod to make a crash landing. There are controls for the escape pod. It is not recommended that you tamper with them because basically the thing just is designed to take you down safely. And so messing with that is at your option, but not really normally recommended. Anybody want to do anything on the trip down?
I would like to tinker with the suit because I definitely did not take the spacesuit off.
Yep.
But I'd like to move faster, so I'm just going to be like completely leaning over, like just totally hunched over and tampering with the boots.
Okay, so you're like trying to mess with your boots as you go?
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I need to go faster.
Okay. You're doing the sort of gotta go fast modifications.
That's right.
Just paint some racing stripes on it. That makes it faster.
He's painting them red.
We were
All
the
right.
lucky ones.
So the pod is buffeted as it enters the atmosphere, but it's designed for this, right? This is expected as it goes. And
do we still have Evie?
Evie is not answering at the moment.
Okay.
So if Evie is present, you're not getting an answer.
Do you think she's listening to us?
I'm glad that computer's gone. It was a waste of our time.
But wait, Chuffy, what if she's listening right now, just being quiet?
Oh, she can know she's a waste of our time. That's fine by me.
Oh, it's awfully confrontational. What if it attacks us?
Yeah, we got this far by the seat of our pants. Don't see any reason for changing.
Okay.
And so
Can I? You mentioned there were scanners that will scan the planet. So
yes.
can I see where we're going to land and how near civilization / water / shelter / food / other things that might be of notable concern we will be close to?
I think that might be a survive check if you've got that.
I do have that, as a matter of fact. So it's 2d6 plus 1?
Plus, yep. If you got survive 1, then yep.
Well, I did really well. I did 10.
All right. So this thing is basically avoiding large inhabitations because large inhabitations might do things like shoot at a pod that's coming down. It's instead trying to park you out in sort of an expansive desert. Now, that is not the greatest place to be because it's desert. However, you also manage to, you're like, hey, this is an escape pod. They're not going to have us just land with nothing, right? The escape pod itself works as a fairly decent shelter. And so that's one thing. But you also managed to figure out where they've got the cache on board of supplies, because there's a whole bunch of supplies on the escape pod. So you managed to get in there and start digging around, and you can sort of inventory your stuff. There are 8 Atmo filters, and Atmo filters are little breathing masks that basically they won't help you if you're in like in vacuum or anything like that, but they will help if the atmosphere is toxic or if the atmosphere is, or dust or that kind of thing. 2 pressure tents. The pod itself should be able to maintain pressure, but if it doesn't, you can set these up and they're a sort of confined space, but they will produce enough air to stay alive. 80 days worth of rations, which are not the greatest in terms of flavor, as
For how many
well as
people?
10 days each.
Yeah, 10 days each. So it's a 10-day supply of food and water. 4 survival kits, which are detailed in the book. They've got a bunch of good stuff in there. 1 vacuum fresher, which is capable of refreshing either a vac suit or a pressure tent. 1 med kit. 2 Lazarus patches, which are basically capable of they're your last ditch. If you have been, say, shot and are dying, they can try to revive you. 10 Type A power cells, so package of batteries. 1 solar recharger, which allows you to recharge the batteries. And that's sort of the contents there. They didn't.
Well, what's
include any
battery powered
weapons.
that we have?
The pressure tents are battery powered. The vacuum fresher can either be hand operated with a crank or by hooking a battery up to it. And I think the Atmo filters use batteries.
Can I scan for like desert is, as you point out, not ideal. Something that was, less immediately hostile to life, perhaps some sort of fresh water supply, maybe some sort of vegetation that might imply, we're not going to die immediately.
It's taking you down towards what it sort of registers as a safe landing spot. There's not really a whole lot of water on the planet, so there's not really a lot in terms of oases or anything like that. So it's really just kind of landing you towards soft sand as opposed to rocks, and away from major habitations. What you do also notice is that there is a sort of a small settlement, and it's about a few days on foot, which is pretty rough travel if you're, heading down or if you're walking in a desert. So it's not ideal in terms of that, but it's a pretty survivable landing. And you guys do have enough stuff to hopefully, basically it's sort of designed to ensure that you guys last long enough for rescue is kind of the idea. But rescue is not necessarily guaranteed, so you may have to figure out other plans.
Yeah. So can I scan for, are there any other landing spots that are possible in this computer?
Yeah.
I mean, or my choice, my chances sand and rock.
You can do sand, you can do rock. You can also sort of aim for trying to find somewhere where you don't really have sort of an oasis, but you do have some places with higher water concentration that you could try to put this down at. You could try to get it closer to town. It won't let you go. So, like, there's a lockout basically to keep you from landing this into the town, but you can get closer. Is that what you're aiming for? Is closer to the town?
Closer is better because then it's more walkable. We can walk it at night. So if I can get to like a 30-mile or something, then it's doable.
Yeah, you can get it to like a half day of walking, which...
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, closer than that, and it starts throwing you all sorts of errors in terms of the lockout, which you'd have to start messing with the systems to override, and that's not... This might void your warranty.
I'll take the half day.
All right, so that cuts 2.5 days off the walking, and you guys come sliding down. It's a little bit more of a rough landing, but more of a rough landing is not in the sense of like anybody's getting injured or anything like that. And this pod is really designed for one trip. It's not going back up into space because it doesn't do that. So you guys have now landed in the desert, and let me just see if I can find the image for that. I have a desert landing image, which I got to actually manage to bring up.
That's gonna look sick.
Assuming it works. Oh. Why is this not functioning?
Because if
not
everything
showing-
worked when we want to, we wouldn't suffer.
Yeah, it's not showing me the right image. I'm trying to see if I can get it to actually show me the pod landing. It is not showing me the pod landing. Why is it not showing me the pod landing? I will link the pod landing in in the chat there, because
Ooh. All this
give me a
art is
second.
sick there.
This is entirely done with what do you call
Midjourney?
it?
Midjourney?
Midjourney.
It's a journey success.
Midjourney sometimes takes a little bit of arguing with to
Yeah.
function, but it can generate some pretty cool images. So,
Hells
yeah.
yeah.
so that's
I mean,
sort of
that looks nice, man.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, I could have.
Oh, that's awesome.
There is no way
Yeah,
I
so
could have
cool.
gotten art for this other than through Midjourney, right? If I'd
Yeah.
been going around to artists, it would have been like, okay, this is $300 and I can get it to you in 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you
Technology,
guys
right?
have landed. You sort of step out and it's really quiet. You can hear the wind. And thankfully, the air is breathable. The computer systems let you know that you are on a planet with breathable air. They do still give you a thing advising that you wear the Atmo filters because of dust, but it's
Oh no, space dust.
it's really optional, right? You guys are in a desert, and if you decide that you would rather just not, you're not going to actually suffer any sort of you're not going to suffer any sort of consequences or anything like that. It's just, yeah. So what do you guys decide you want to do as sort of an initial thing?
Right. Well,
I say we just set up the tents for the moment, and then we'll take all the inventory of everything, and then as soon as the sun sets, we make our way towards the town so that we'll be there in the morning.
Can
All
I,
right, so you guys...
can I
go
guesstimate
ahead.
how long that of a walk that would be? Maybe since I'm like a pilot, I know like measurements
Well,
really well.
They said a half day.
Half day.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we'll do
Yeah.
it in the evening when it's not like gonna
Yeah,
burst
rock
it
and
up.
roll. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, right now the sun is really unpleasant. And the pod is actually fairly comfortable. It's actually designed to be potentially a habitat.
I say we just hunker in place until sunset and then head towards the town.
I mean, if we have to make our way back here, if the town is abandoned or whatnot, then it's only another half day to get back here. So we just need to carry what we need to get there and back.
Right.
And you guys have supplies, and the rations are not Carolina Reapers. Basically, they're little, like, small bars of
Yeah.
kind of blocky material. There's something akin to like a Datrax ration, if you guys have ever dealt with those. They will keep you alive. They will not make you happy. Nobody's going to a restaurant to eat these. Anybody else have anything sort of immediate they want to get taken care of here?
I have the list of everything that was on the ship in the cache. There was no weapons, right?
No weapons on board the pod.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I've still got my bit of glass. All right. Well, I think that we just hunker down until nighttime, and then we get ready.
Do you think?
Do we
it's
have
gonna get
water?
cold?
You guys
Yeah, we
have
have
water.
water.
Okay.
You got 10 days of water.
Okay, I missed that bit. Sorry.
No worries.
So, as you guys are hunkering down, one of you, you guys notice there is a plume of smoke, or plume of dust, rather, not smoke, heading towards you guys. And that is where we'll wrap up for today.
No.
This is a good intro. No, we had a good time. This is a good intro. It's a good line.
It's
It's
a
a
really
good
good
game.
one. I want to play all the time, forever,
we
always.
we'll do a follow-up as to what you guys do and how you guys get a ship from here, because the escape pod is not going to fly again. They're a one-way trip. They get you down alive. They don't get you anywhere else after that. So this is kind of the sort of the initial intro, and we will get, I'm hoping we'll have the same group together fairly soon. We'll have to do scheduling. I see House Hippo saying next Saturday. I got to make sure everyone's available. We're going to have to figure out scheduling and all of that.
I'm free.
It was so much fun.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. And we'll sort of end the broadcast here and have a little bit of a sort of backstage chat. But yeah, this is kind of an experiment. I haven't run. I mean, I ran sort of the D&D one shot. I haven't run Stars Without Number in literally years. So hopefully that wasn't too rocky.
That was really good.
I really enjoyed
Very
it.
good.
Yeah.
So, and I see Lady Magdala saying, "I've had enough cliffhangers for today, Runkle." You can blame David
Me.
at the bottom there for the other one. I'm hoping that we'll be able to sort of do the next step of this before the next step of L&D. So
Yeah. I popped in there and lurked for a moment. You guys look like you were having so much fun. But it was like 3 in the morning, so I couldn't stay around. But man, it looked like a blast.
yeah, the time difference can be a bit of a bear. So, all right.
And maybe
thank
I'll
you
play
all.
around with my soundboard and find a better sound, so I don't have to keep stretching my voice so much.
Oh yeah, that vocal fry is tricky and hard, right? It hurts.
After doing it for a while, it's a little bit
Yeah,
much.
I swear I've got like calluses on my throat though. I don't actually know if you can do that, but like it doesn't hurt me as much these days. But I remember when I was like first like doing vocal fry all the time, it was a stinger.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna end the broadcast and we'll chat sort of behind the scenes here. So hit the like button, all the YouTubey things, and
Smash that like
see you
button.
guys next time. Yes.